Gonna today look at this video about if Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works or not. This guy's gonna I don't know if he's a pranker or he's a yanker or if he's just a person who does videos. So we're just gonna take a look.
Today, I'm entering a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament to prove that it doesn't work. Just prove my point.
Alrighty, I'm confused. All right, is he in Brazil or is this just a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament in America? I can't place his accent, so I don't know. I can't tell.
They say 90% of fights end up on the ground. But 100% start standing up, and that's where we want the fight to end.
That might not be true. I think there are some fights that start sitting down. I've seen plenty of cafeteria videos as of late in high schools, and a lot of those fights are from the ground. So, strike one.
Guess this is the last place you want to be in a street fight.
Yet there's a whole martial art dedicated to this worst-case scenario. That's like my karate class practicing how to get knocked out.
Which would be good to practice.
Just makes no sense. I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu only works if you play along with it. And to prove my point, I'm gonna enter.
So that's what a lot of people think about chi fighting forces. A lot of classes that teach chi and touchless takedowns. A lot of videos you'll see people kind of rolling over and just kind of performing for the camera. That's not what I've experienced in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've done it a few times. I've taken a few classes for like 2 to 3 months. I'm no expert by any means, but it feels like there is some truth to it, some type of heft to the training, but I've seen people really rely on it. I've never gotten into a fight in real life, thank God, but you see a lot of stuff on Twitter where it's like, don't pick fights with strangers because you don't know what they know. That's very true with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think there are a lot of like skinny, nerdy guys who look very unassuming, who may know a lot about different stuff they can do to you might not even considered. So it's not smart to pick fights with strangers.
On the street and simply stand up. But first, I gotta practice. Okay, turns out standing up is much harder than I thought. Especially when somebody wants to hold you down. I want a new opponent.
That's the first thing you do. You got to take somebody down. If you're gonna use your jiu-jitsu skills, you can't do it just standing and hugging.
And now that I know how it works, I can easily avoid it.
See, it'd be really nice if I had a few people who took some classes or had some feedback I could kind of bounce back and forth with.
Both younger and stronger. But every time I try to stand up, it ends the same way.
It's crazy though. You'll find yourself in weird holds and start realizing you're becoming lightheaded.
That's when my brother Oliver.
Scary.
Not as easy as you thought, huh?
As a professional fighter, he knows what works and what doesn't.
Put this on and meet me upstairs tomorrow. And don't forget what belt you are in BJJ.
And he's got a plan.
Okay, real quick, I noticed a trend on a lot of the gym I used to go to had it's not how hard to hit, it's about getting up after you've been knocked down or something, and it attributed the quote to right under it. It said Rocky Balboa. I thought that was funny because it's a very strange thing to kind of idolize fictional characters. Even if they have the physique that you're going for, it's very weird to pay for that decal and stick it on the wall in a gym. The BJJ place down the street has a picture of, I don't know, forgot his name, the bad guy from Karate Kid, and it says "sweep the leg" in the class. It's just really like it's, if I was paying for that, I'd feel really funny. I'd feel like we're LARPing, but it looks like there's some cool skills that they impart, but it's just a part of the marketing. It's just so funny with martial arts. Continue. Okay, commercial time. Nice. So yeah,
Crash course
let's see.
in standing up. You smash me from top. Every second I spend here is a second I get more tired while you get more rest. So I need to relieve this pressure. I'm gonna wiggle this arm in here and this arm is gonna go in here. Now I have a frame, but I can't push you from here. So I'm gonna use my strongest muscles and I'm gonna make a bridge. Ooh. Now we have a few options. This direction, this direction,
This is always interesting. I'll continue in a bit. When they put you on the ground and they have you do something called bridge and shrimp, and it's like it's a way to get somebody off you and get your limbs in between you and them. I was a little skeptical. I've always been a little skeptical when I was kind of training at that point, because I felt like we were kind of letting one another win, letting one another learn the moves. It's like when you're playing Mortal Kombat and you're like, don't move, don't fight against me. I want to practice my move. That's what it was like in real life. And you do that often enough and you'll probably learn some skills. Sure. I've always felt like I can't put much clout into it, but let's see what this guy does. He seems to have the same sentiment.
direction and that direction. You have to feel where your opponent is heavy. So don't move against the resistance, but use the easiest path available. Stay on the move all the time. If you're on top, you can rest. But if you're underneath, you need to work.
I better start training. I'm the best around. No one's ever gonna hold me down. I'm the best.
Copyright. Oops.
Around.
Shush.
The ground. I'm the best around. No one's ever gonna.
I said no covers. You can't do a cover on Twitch.
I'm the best around. I am not afraid of the ground. I'm the best around. No one's ever gonna take me down. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. It's finally game day. After weighing in, they check my sleeves to make sure I'm not hiding any nunchucks. But what they don't know is that I am a weapon. Unfortunately, the weather is not great, and it looks like it might.
This is a nice court. Some people out there enjoying the sun. I don't see many places like that where I am. I'm kind of jealous. I don't know what country this is or where this competition is, but it's pretty.
My plan
I mean, these people seem comfortable to be there.
Unfortunately, I can't control the weather. It might not work.
Stats turn. Okay.
Unfortunately, I can't control the weather. All I can do is start to warm up and hope for the best. That's when they suddenly announce my name.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tour.
It's finally time to see if Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works when you don't play along. When the fight starts, my opponent immediately tries to grab my sleeves. All I want to do is push his hands away.
He's definitely on the defensive. He doesn't seem like he has an idea of what he wants to do.
Pull me on top of him. But of course,
yeah, get
it
off.
doesn't work, because I just stand up. Now my opponent grabs my lapel. So I try to strip his wrist off with both hands. But his grip is too good. That's when he tries to pull me down again.
That's the point. You got to get on the ground. Get him on the ground.
Move away. I can sense that my opponent is getting frustrated because I refuse to go down to the ground with him. That's when he tries a new tactic. He goes for a foot sweep. I decide to return the favor, but he fails. But luckily, he just lies down anyway.
He
This
pushes
is when
it.
I realized that all my training has made me overqualified for this tournament because I'm never ending up on the ground. That's when the referee suddenly stops the action.
It's no fair. Hey.
Apparently, I've broken some.
Yeah, this guy sucks.
He tells me that I'm not allowed to disengage, and if I don't start grappling, I'm gonna get
I don't remember that rule.
And now my opponent refuses.
Yeah, get
to
on the
even
ground with
stand
him.
up. I doubt this
I've
is
never
what
seen a
samurai
BJJ tournament, I'm
warriors had in
sorry.
mind when they invented jujutsu. Because it was supposed to be used as a last resort when your weapons fail, and the last place you want to go on the battlefield is the ground. But something changed when the art spread to Brazil. It became a sport, and the essence was lost. This is the exact same thing that happened to karate. Today, you can even become an Olympic champion by getting knocked out.
All right, well, about karate, I don't want to offend anybody. It's just that I've seen a lot of young black belts in karate, like getting their black belts just from like dancing around and doing like just gymnastic stuff. I didn't know karate was gymnastics. I just felt like it's one of those things where you pay enough money for enough years and they got to give you something. I don't want to seem too cynical, but yeah, I feel like sparring would be a lot more useful than the katas and the dancing around. I don't know. Not to offend anyone's hobby or passion. Just what I've observed with a lot of young martial arts practitioners. Not that I am one at all.
So now I am left with no other choice but to finish the fight. It's time to put the martial back in martial arts. This was not part of the plan, so I have to find a way to win. Luckily, my opponent gives me his leg, so I try to break it. But the referee tells
I have
me
this?
I'm not allowed to do that, so I have to let go. I'm trying my best to avoid my opponent's attacks, but I'm afraid that if I'm too passive, I will get disqualified. So I'm left with no other choice but to go down to the ground. And luckily, I know exactly what to do from here.
Oh shoot. Okay, so usually in jiu-jitsu, what I have found that it teaches you is patience and situational awareness. So you start getting nervous when someone has you in a hold or someone has you in a disadvantaged situation. And that usually raises your heart rate, raises your breathing, and you freak out. But jiu-jitsu kind of makes you think, well, what do I do? What are some options, some things we went over in training? And it kind of lets you review that nice and slow. And obviously there's a ticking clock. But your training should kick in and you should start to intellectualize all of it. Not that that helps in any physical way like it did with this guy. He probably has plenty of training being choked and being in holds. And this proved to be too much for him. Kind of alarming to see a seasoned practitioner in that situation.
And just like that, I proved my point. Because no matter what martial art we practice, it's important that we don't lose sight of its original purpose.
If he would have just stood up, that would never have happened.
At the end of the day, it's not what
I like the
but how you
arrogance.
do it. Because every martial art has its time and place.
Should have stayed up, buddy.
But one thing is for sure. Those who don't
This guy
learn
got here on an electric unicycle. Look at that thing. There's something in there.
to repeat it.
He gets the medal with his backpack on.
Second places on the street.
So, I did some research, and it turns out that this statistic is for law enforcement, because their job is to take a suspect
forgot
down
what the
to the
statistic
ground
was.
and put handcuffs on them. It doesn't apply to street fighting or self-defense for civilians. So the next time somebody tells you that 90% of fights end up on the ground, tell them, yeah, if you're a cop.
Okay. Well, there's one perspective. Thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see and want to like, follow, subscribe, and check out my YouTube channel. Check out Patty Magic Bun on Twitch. That's all I have time for today. I'll probably be back later today. Thanks for following, and thanks for joining. Bye.